Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about all of Daft Punk's studio albums because I've listened to all of them. I still need to listen to the live stuff, yes, but I've listened to all their studio albums and I'm going to be talking about them. So first is Homework, and it's very good, but I feel like it can get kind of boring in the second half. Sometimes when I'm not in the mood for it, okay, don't like hate on me for saying this, but I feel like besides like Alive and the last track just being like a reversal of Defunk, which I feel like is a good way to end the album, and also Transition's pretty is a pretty good album loop, but rather than that, I feel like a lot of the stuff on the second half isn't amazing and as good as the first half, because the first half is immaculate. There's like the four tracks that are just fantastic. The starting track is great with that very nice vocoder and just the fucking amazing beat. And then there's Revolution 909, which is just amazing, from the police siren opening to the fantastic sampling and the amazing beat again that's on that track. But then there's the funk, which is one of my favorites, and it is my favorite on the record. That synth line is immediately catchy on contact, and then there's a second synth line in the midpoint of the song, which is also even more catchy. So there's like two insanely catchy elements, and then they just clash together very, very well. I just love how like it clashes in terms of melody, but it still feels cohesive. It's great. They just, both of the synth melodies also sound just fantastic in general, and the beat is also again very good. And then there's, of course, Around the World, which is pretty repetitive, but I like how repetitive it is. It's very, very nice. I love, again, the vocoder on this track, and it feels like this is the first remnant. In fact, this probably is the first remnant of actual Daft Punk robot vocoder sounding stuff. Maybe the first track a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that was just a sample. But this is actually them singing and speaking or whatever, and it actually sounds pretty good. Around the World is a fantastic track. Even though it is pretty long, I still feel like that it repeats and it progresses very, very well. But again, I feel like the second half, especially Rolling and Scratching, while I do like the synth line on that, I feel like it is a little bit too long sometimes when I'm not in the mood for it. And then there's also Rock and Roll, which is pretty notorious for having this very abrasive, very, very loud synth, probably one of their loudest tracks ever. And I do like it when I'm in the mood for it again, but like sometimes I'm just not in the mood for it at all. But overall, I would give Homework probably an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. But then we have Discovery, which is the only album I have on them on CD, have from them on CD, and I am getting Random Access Memories on CD, but yeah, this is a fantastic, immaculate record from start to finish. It's a 10 out of 10. It's fantastic. It's a masterpiece. Every single track on here is fantastic. And this is the first Daft Punk album I've listened to. And I obviously have heard their hits before, but I didn't really get the sampling a whole lot when I first listened to this album. I just found it kind of boring. But after listening to after listening to it more, I realized it's because it's extremely catchy, and it's also French house. A lot of the tracks are just very, very, very inspired by French house, and I just love that now. I love how repetitive it is now, because it just makes it way more catchy. Even when you've listened to these tracks countless times, just the melodies get stuck in your head on like each track. It's like insanely repetitive, but in a very good way. These get stuck in your head very, very easily. One of my favorite tracks, Superheroes, has one of the best synth melodies I've ever heard, and it's very simple, but it's probably one of the best synth melodies I've ever heard, on top of a fantastic sample. And like, yeah, like all the sampling on this album is immaculate. And again, kind of harking back to my sampling video, for the people saying that Daft Punk sampling is lazy, listen to Face to Face. One of my favorites on the record again. And that's a fantastic just showcase of how to sample very well, like at the top of your game, like insane at sampling. That's how you can tell, because oh my god, 11 songs combined into one, it doesn't feel like a mess at all. It's extremely cohesive, and the vocals fit extremely well. And also even the slower tracks that are less, like, have less energy are great. Like Something About Us is a fantastic track. Again, one of my favorites. Amazing album from start to finish. It really took a little bit to grow on me, but after it did, I realized how much of a masterpiece it is. The only thing I don't like about this record is not the record itself, but I just don't like it that it's in a hard case, because I don't like these hard case CDs, I'm going to be honest. It's just a nitpick of mine. They're very easy to break. And also, I just got this delivered today. This is new, by the way, and it has that mark on it. It's not supposed to be there, but it got that mark, which kind of sucks. But hey, it doesn't like interfere with the album art or anything, but it still is a little minor nitpick. But hey, whatever. It's still a great record, and as I've stated, it's a masterpiece. But then we have their most controversial album, Human After All, which is the exact opposite of Discovery. And Daft Punk knew this when going into this. And in fact, they basically did a complete left turn. The biggest left turn in music history. No, I'm not talking about Radiohead, but yeah, this is a major left turn. It's a lot more cold and sterile and a lot more robotic, even more robotic than this. While this felt warm and inviting, fucking Human After All is the exact opposite. It's very abrasive, very, very repetitive melodies. Like, they very rarely change. But I just like that. I like that. After listening to this album a few times already, it's just great. Again, this is another great album. The starting track, Human After All, fantastic showcase of how that repetitiveness actually works very well. I feel like the guitar melody is fantastic on this track. The guitar just sounds great. This is probably their most rock-driven record, and it really shows. I just love the guitar work on this album. And of course, there's Robot Rock, which, again, harking back to my sampling video, I really don't feel like is that lazily sampled. Yes, it's sampling another song with very little changes, but they still do splice in some other parts here, like make the sample stop for a little bit and then start again and then do all that. Like, there's minor differences to make it feel different enough. And also, they got the rights to the song, so yeah. But yeah, Robot Rock is a fantastic track. And sometimes it can feel like it goes on a little bit too long, but other times I just feel like it's fantastic. And then there's also one of my favorites on the album, probably going to be Television Rules the World. I love the vocoder on this track, love the guitar work on this track. It's very repetitive again. They very rarely change melodies on most of these songs, but I feel like it works for this track a lot. And again, one of my favorites on the album, Emotion, fantastic track. This is a way to close the album. It like harkens back to Technologic, which was the track before this, and it fits in extremely well. It's very, very emotional, get it? Because it's called Emotion. But yeah, it's very nice. It's a very kind of calm, but still kind of energetic track. It really blends the two elements from this album very, very well, and harkens back to other albums as well. But if I were to rank this, on some days, I would put this less than Homework, and on some days, better than Homework. Yes, I know, a lot of people are going to dislike me for this take, because a lot of people think that Homework is one of their best, and Human After All is their worst. But I do feel like Human After All really does benefit from that cold, sterile, very, very, like, unwelcoming environment. And I feel like if you're interested in, like, industrial music, like I really like industrial music and stuff like that, this is a great album for that. And yeah, this is just a great kind of industrial-inspired album with great guitar work, very, very catchy synth melodies that do get a little bit repetitive at points if you're not in the mood for it, but when you're in the mood for it, they can feel fantastic. And also, just, yeah, the album as a whole also is pretty cohesive and fits pretty well. But yeah, it's a great album. But then we have my second favorite album from them, and I know they've not released that many studio albums, but of course, Random Access Memories, which I actually am getting on CD later. I'm getting the 10th anniversary CD, and the only reason I'm getting that is because I want to hear the demos, and also I like the cover art better. I know a lot of people are going to hate me because they like the gold and silver cover art, but I like the metallic finish of the 10th anniversary look of the album art, alright? And hopefully it won't come in this fucking dog shit hard case. But enough of complaining aside. Yeah, this is really not them sampling a lot. Like this is the complete opposite of like their last three albums, which are already very different from each other already. This is again another left turn where they're not really sampling a lot of stuff. They're basically just being kind of studio lab rats, just like having a lot of collaborators around them, and I feel like it works fantastic. There are so many great tracks on this thing. For example, the one with Julian Casablancas, fucking instant crush. One of my favorites on the record. I instantly fell in love with it when I heard it, and it's very catchy. The synth melody is amazing. The guitar work, oh, the guitars are great. The guitar solo is amazing. And yeah, it's a kind of repetitive but amazing track, and I like how repetitive it is actually. And then Contact. I know I'm talking about this already when I probably shouldn't be, but Contact. This I didn't really like this track a whole lot on my first listen. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really feel it. I didn't like how like kind of ear splitting, like how it felt like it was like a rocket taking off, the rising synth. But now I realize how great it is. It really combines everything from their last albums. It really feels like homework at the end. It feels like there's some good discovery mixed in with with the random access memories feel, and then the climbing synth feels like Human After All. It really just combines all of the elements from their other albums into a one amazing instrumental. That's amazing from start to finish. And I actually love the kind of glitchy outro. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I do. I really like that glitchy outro. And then there's also, of course, the collaborations with Pharrell Williams, and of course, Touch, which is probably my favorite track on the album. It is just immaculate from start to finish, and it was actually put on the epilogue of Daft Punk for a good goddamn reason. It feels like the perfect swan song to Daft Punk, but I also kind of feel like it wouldn't fit as the final track. I feel like Touch and Contact are both perfect swan songs, but Touch is also just immaculately produced, amazing vocals, and just fucking amazing vocoders from Daft Punk themselves on this track. Love the choir in the back as well. Just a fantastic, very transcendent track. It really just makes you fucking transcend into another universe, man. It's great. And we have the starting track, Give Life Back to Music, which is very catchy. Probably one of Daft Punk's catchiest songs. Love the vocoder on this track. And then Giorgio by Mordor. And I like this track so much. The very, very, very catchy synth. The very actually nice storytelling that really kind of tells a story about how Daft Punk kind of got their inspiration, how how just music is made in general, and how the music making process works. Like it really just gives insight onto how they make music and how like just life stories of other people they collaborated with. It really is just very insightful. I love that track so much. And yeah, Random Access Memories is a fantastic album. If I were to give it a ranking, 9 to a 9.5 out of 10. I still think it can't beat Discovery because Discovery is immaculate, but it's damn near close. But that's basically it. I'm done talking about all their albums, and besides the live albums, which I will get to. But yeah, all their studio albums are fantastic, and there's no wonder why they're one of the most praised electronic, techno, French house, whatever you want to call them, duos in the world. Like, oh my god. If not, no, they basically are the most critically acclaimed, best, in my opinion, best French house, whatever you, again, like electronic music duo. I think they're the best electronic music duo. But that's my opinion, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.